Landon, yeah. Yep.
I was gonna. Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. Tom Jasnoch here, welcoming you to Facebook Live and WinField United, the Total Acre live event. Tom Jasnoch here, a little bit about myself. I'm an agronomist by trade and training, I worked in retail for about 12 years before I started with WinField United, working primarily in the seed side of the business, but working with our local retailers on all their agronomy needs, focusing a little bit on the seed side. And we're gonna talk about the Total Acre today and how that brings our advanced acre prescription program, what we call AARX, really to life. And that's what we're gonna focus on today. So I got Brad Krajewski with me. Brad, tell me a little bit about you.
Oh, yep. So Brad Krajewski, I'm a technical seed agronomist here. Been with the Land O'Lakes almost 20 years now. Spent 6 years in retail, then moved into the district sales manager role and now the technical seed agronomist role. So covering, parts of Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. So Tom, you mentioned this total acre management, and that's what we're going to feed all this information into our advanced acre program. So what does total acre management mean to you as a seed agronomist? Well,
so Brad, as I think about that, and the history that I've had, in the past, and it still happens today, a grower will come in and purchase a bag of seed, based on, how it did in test plots at local plots or whatever. And then they'll go to their fertilizer dealer and they'll purchase their fertility needs. They'll set up a plan and follow through that on a field by field basis, and then work with their retailer or their local field scout on managing, herbicides, managing, fungicides or diseases if they came in, managing insects, and until we get to the end of the season. And really when I look at today, what the total acre is, it's really about how do all those things work together, right? I mean, what do we know about, the seed and how it responds to different things, and what do we know about, about fertility and the different ways that we can manage that. And so, that's what I think about is, what is total acre to me. And so I focus on a lot of different things than just seed. You're the technical seed agronomist. When you think about total acre from a seed perspective, how do you view it?
Yeah, so like you said, for me, it all starts with that seed decision and understanding and knowing what we know about how those hybrids interact or react to all those other management or input decisions that you mentioned. This first slide we've got here just shows a 10-year summary of some of the data we get from the answer plot system. You can see the response to nitrogen, response to population, response to fungicide. That's just one piece of it. This answer plot system, it's one of the world's largest applied ag research systems that's out there. And we test nearly 240 hybrids every year to collect data about those hybrids so we can understand how to manage them, to maximize production on those acres and help these growers, maximize production. So, and this isn't just the cropland hybrids. We do that testing on we do it with our partner brands from the Decal, Brevant, NK, and we even have some some competitor products in that testing as well that, we can help manage and help those growers manage those hybrids on their farm if they happen to have them as well. So, we're collecting a lot of data from those 3 or 4 different RT scores that I was talking about. And this chart just showed some of that data in a summary. And we'll get into that data a little bit more, in upcoming slides. But, so not only do we have the data on a hybrid by hybrid basis, but we also have other tools that information feeds into, like our field forecasting tool that utilizes that information about the hybrids, but also other information like rainfall or weather data, tissue sampling that may come in or been done, and applies on the model for our nitrogen applications. And so I think we got a slide coming up, Tom, and would you tell us about that nitrogen modeling slide from the field forecasting tool here?
Yeah, Brad, and I see we got a question about the application of fungicide products, and we'll answer that probably when you get into response to fungicide stuff. But basically what you're looking at here, folks, is a chart from our field forecasting tool, and the columns you're looking at there are just weeks of the year, okay? And off to the left in that tool, you can put basically the cost of nitrogen. You can put any application costs in that, as well as what your expected selling price of corn is. And what, again, as Brad mentioned, is this field forecasting tool is taking in information. You put in the hybrid and the relative maturity of it in there. It's tracking weather data all the time, all the rainfall. You can put in any applications of nitrogen, any tissue test samples that you have, all that information. And basically, if you go back to, and it's going to give you a recommendation on when the best time to put nitrogen on there is. Okay. So I mentioned earlier, when back when I was in retail, and still a lot today, you put a fertilizer program together and you kind of stick with it. What this does is it gives you more information based on all that input data on when the best time to apply nitrogen to that particular crop to get your best return on investment. Something that is huge. And then you tie that in. You talked about the response to nitrogen piece, Brad. Now you know more about how the hybrid's going to react, and so you can look at that and say, hey, I've got a high responder to nitrogen. I'm gonna be at that high nitrogen piece, and I know when I'm gonna put it on. So there's a lot of growers have pretty much done with fertility, Brad, but we're seeing a lot of corn is just tasseled and a lot of planes in the air. From a fungicide standpoint, how can you help growers decide on whether they should apply a fungicide or not?
Yeah, great question. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of people making recommendations to apply or not apply fungicides depending on disease pressure. But one thing that we do in our research, and it showed on that first graph, was our RTF scores. We do that in absence of disease being present. So this is just truly saying, do we have hybrid response or not? So if we look at this next chart that we've got coming up, we break that information down on a hybrid by hybrid basis. And here's the 105-day chart that just shows our low, moderate, or high RTF score products and the range that they cover. So a low RTF product may cover may fall in that category between 6 bushel and 8 bushel response by adding a fungicide. Moderates being 8 to 13, and the high being that 13.9 to 19 bushel response by adding that fungicide. So any hybrid in that 105-day category would fall in one of those 3, or any RM for that matter. But if we look at the data behind that, if we look at those low RTF products, maybe at that 6 bushel response and $5 corn, we're getting $30 back from that additional yield by adding a fungicide, but we got to take that fungicide cost out of that, right? And so $30, $35, we're breaking even or losing money there. But if we move up to that moderate RTF scores with 8 bushel being the low side times $5 corn, we're getting $40 back, and a fungicide only costing us 30 or 35 applied. We're on that positive ROI, right? And the high RTF just gets higher and higher from that. So it's really good to have that information to help us make a decision on, will this hybrid respond by adding a fungicide, whether we have disease present or not. And all that information feeds into that advanced RX program, and we have a piece tied into that prescription, whether you make a fungicide application or not, to go towards that payment coming back. And in the next piece, if we break that down a little bit further, you can see on this graph just shows that not only do we have the cropland products here, but all the partnered products and competitor products in here as well. And you can see that just within this 105-day group, we have a low, a moderate, and a high responder to fungicide. So you have those options, and if you're planting those 3 products, maybe something where we don't recommend you apply fungicide to all of them. You just maybe the low or the moderate RTF score product, right? And so, a lot of information available behind the RTF, and it feeds into those other tools like I mentioned. But when we're making those fungicide applications, specifically when we're doing aerial applications like are happening right now, we maybe want to be thinking about other things we can be putting in the tank when they're doing that to save that cost or additional cost. And so one good thing maybe to throw in there is that adjuvants like Master Lock that can help assure that we're getting the placement of that fungicide where it needs to be, especially when we're in these low volume scenarios like aerial application gives us, right? So with all that information behind the hybrids that I've mentioned, Tom, how does that play into the Impact RX or Advanced RX systems that we have available, or programs we have available?
Yeah, and Brad, maybe before I go into that real quickly, I had a question. Does the timing of the application change based on the fungicide that you choose? Any comments in regards to that?
Yeah, I'd say yes. The timing does change a little bit based on disease pressure. I think is more the factor than anything. If we got a lot of rust or gray leaf spot or things like that, that could really change the product that you select. To have a product maybe covers multiple modes of action or something that can handle those disease pressure versus if we're just putting it on for the benefit of having a fungicide for the plant health piece aspect of it.
Okay, appreciate that. So, kind of to wrap things up, we talked about the understanding that we have around our products, particularly seed products, and how they respond to certain things. And fungicide's a big one today. And because of those insights, WinField United has been able to offer an advanced acre prescription program, our AARX program, and that provides a warranty for yield, so against your approved yield. And it's another way that we bring economics and agronomics better together to serve the grower. And so for this particular case, we have a advanced acre prescription program for fungicide use on particularly corn. So if you have any questions about that or any of the other advanced acre prescription services that we offer or programs that we offer, certainly contact your local WinField United retailer about that, and they can help you out or get in touch with any of their WinField folks to help us out. So I think we covered the one question that we had on fungicides and the timing of that application. Any other questions, you can put them on the Facebook event, or I know we had a couple other questions, Brad. One is, should I take a tissue test before you apply fungicide? And I think, for me, I think it makes sense because then you can look for any opportunities where you might need maybe a bit of a shot of nitrogen with a gradual end product type thing, or anything like a boron, which is really important during seed set and those types of things. You can look at those and add those potentially to the tank as that plane's going over.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. Anything else, Brad, that you can think of?
No, I think that was great explanation of the Advanced Acre RX program and what we have to offer and what tools that our retailers have available to help their growers get out there and manage those acres and get the total management done and then maximize production. So, all
right. If you got any other questions about the Advanced Acre prescription program, Advanced Acre RX, and the warranty it provides, please contact your local WinField United retailer. And thank you all for joining us today on WinField United Live.
Thanks, everyone.